Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Healthy X Sundays podcast, where we bring you the most critical and actionable content in the health and fitness space. Kunal Jain, also known as the Veg Diet Coach, and myself, Dev, from Mind Muscle Project, are your hosts. And today we are excited to have Mr. Iftikhar Ahmed, a man of many talents. He is the director of Clear Investments, a leading financial firm with offices in Glasgow and London. It specializes in high-end property investments across London, Dubai, and UAE. But beyond his impressive business achievements, Iftikhar is also an ace cyclist with a passion for endurance sports. But despite being a high performing athlete, Iftikhar faced a severe health challenge, a heart artery blockage that challenged his outlook on fitness and life. Today, we are here to share his remarkable journey, how his love for cycling shaped his life, and how he overcame his obstacle to emerge even stronger. We'll dive into his views on endurance sports, metabolic health, and busting common fitness myths. Let's welcome Mr. Iftikhar Ahmed to the show. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much for the kind introduction, Dave. Thank you very, very much.
Let's start with your whole journey. So, how did you get into cycling? How did you get
Well,
into cycling?
I got into cycling. I'm 55 years of age, so at 48 old age, I dissed the generation. And the pain, let me close this door first. My grandchildren have just arrived. So basically, at 48 years of age, I dissed the generation. And soccer, which is my first love, and it always will be, the pain was unbearable. So I just took the plunge and went under the knife, got my disc repaired. My back surgery was very successful and still is. I've got zero pain from then. And the journey began by accident. When I work in London, my business partner said to me, let's try these free bikes. There are free bikes in every corner. I'm like, no, I've not been on a bike since I was 12, 13 years ago. Let's jump on because the traffic in London is insane. I'm like, okay. I put in £1, it's for 30 minutes. And, I'm in the park, not in the traffic because I was scared because I'm not a cyclist. I'm not cyclist since I was 12, 13 years of age. And it's like amazing. I just felt amazing. And from there, it just snowballed. It became like, from just enjoying it from that day, it became an obsession. An obsession. Yeah, it's like learning to walk again. I don't know what cyclists do. The bike I had was like 40 kilo. The bike I have today is 6 kilo. So, all of these things, it just became an obsession to enjoy cycling because football stopped. So, the nice transition from playing 3 matches a week. I didn't have a zero time at zero times hospital, then on the bike. So, mentally, it was just perfect timing. So I don't know what I've done without playing soccer. I have no idea. But so it became a nice obsession from just being a casual cyclist, cycling with local people, realizing how unfit I really was in life. 86 kilo, 87 kilo. And from there, I just started like taking things seriously, stripping down the weight. And, it was a 3 year process, 2 year process for me to 86, kilo all the way down to 70, 72 this morning. And getting coached to being very, very obsessive in what I do.
So you mentioned football. So were you always passionate about sports, like from your childhood
Oh,
days, or
yeah.
is it
From
later?
from 6 years of age till 48, I played, at a good level. And when the pain became unbearable, I just like I had to stop. It was unbearable. And the operation being a success, a big success, my reputation playing football was just being fearless. I wasn't the best goal scorer. I wasn't the best. I had no fear. Everyone was like scared of me just because of my reputation. But after the operation, I had 1% fear. And I said, no, either I play 100% or I play nothing at all. And this 1% of fear after my operation, I made a promise to myself, if I cannot do anything 100%, don't do it at all. And I stopped playing that day. I never played again.
So
So,
that's when you found some this thing in cycling.
yeah, I found it and I loved it. And I just realized, when playing soccer, you're arguing, you're fighting every game. All that stopped. There's peace and quiet in the Scottish mountains, and doing from 15 miles to 20 miles to 30 miles to 40 miles. Every threshold was like an achievement for me. So,
So when you compare cycling and soccer, what do you think is the harder one, which requires more fitness levels?
or cycling by far. Because remember, we're cycling 4, 6 hours on a big ride. It's definitely, and it's an individual sport. So you're like, at football, I could hide easily in a game without, I could put myself in a position that I don't even have to play the game. But cycling, you have to come back home. So definitely fitness levels, 100% cycling, and enjoyment, definitely soccer.
Right. Okay, that's interesting.
Right.
So, but the cycling is also in some way a team sport, right?
A
Like
hundred
people
percent.
don't.
Again, I don't know how many people are on this Zoom call. How many people are on this?
Um,
Uh,
we are six, including
Okay.
us.
If you look at the who fly in V shapes, you ever notice that birds are flying in V shapes? And the same team sport applies for cycling. So if I'm riding at 19 miles an hour at the front, the guy behind me is riding at 19 miles an hour, but because he's behind me in the slipstream, he's doing 30% work. And the guy behind him at number three, he's doing 19 miles an hour and he's doing 50% less work than the guy at the front. So it's a very big team sport. And if you watch it on television, you'll understand why they're in rows of pelotons. So, you tuck yourself in, save yourself lots of energy. And like today, I'll be on my own cycling after this podcast. I have to face all of the wind, the side wind. If it starts raining, I have to take all of this. But, on tomorrow, which is my team will be riding. So we'll all take like 15 minutes at the front, 10 minutes swap, fresh. I'll go back to get freshened up again, but still going at the same speed. So it's a big team sport, yeah. And especially for the weaker riders, it's important you protect them. Put them in row three, row four. Just like the birds flying V shapes. The weaker birds are in row three, four, and the strongest bird at the V, it's almost at the front because he or she is the
the
one who
rider,
is
the
breaking up.
riders, the riders at the front are breaking the air resistance, right?
Yes, yes, yes. We're breaking the air resistance, and yeah, we'll get a break. Then the rider at number two will be number one, and the rider at number one will come all the way to the back at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 till it's his turn again. So, it's important. The more riders you have at your level, the easier life gets. So
So
it's,
Kuna,
it's like load sharing the work. We're just sharing all of the work.
Mhm.
Right, Iftikhar?
Kunal,
That's
you can take it
very
from here.
interesting. I'm new to cycling, so getting all these awesome insights. But from talking from a fitness metrics and performance point of view, when you got more serious about cycling, how did you track your progress? What, did you rely on specific metrics like VO2 max, or was it just
Everything.
your
So
feel?
basically, I was very unlucky, or lucky, should I say, when I started cycling with a local club. I hate saying this, they treated me horribly. Why? I was not a cyclist, who wants to wait behind with a slow cyclist when you're cycling for 60, 70 miles? And the guy, so they were my inspiration because they were swearing at me, they were shouting at me. They would leave me in the middle of some village I'd never seen in my life in a mountain area. Then you have to call your wife, or your sister, your mom, pick me up. Where are you? Because I don't even know the village I'm in. So I think more so my son always picked me up, and I was determined to come back stronger. And you know what? You know, from feeling this size when you're in your job and soccer to feel this size all of a sudden, it was not a nice feeling.
Yeah.
So my inspiration came, you know, to get better. And through this, I hired a coach. And then this is where all the metrics of, you know, things I've never heard of in my life, you know, losing weight, using watts per kilo. You know, when I listen to the cyclists in my team, I do 20 mile an hour, I do 19 mile an hour. That means nothing to me because, you know, if the wind is behind your back, you can do 23 mile an hour with the wind. And if the wind is in your face, you can do 14 mile an hour. So it's a false parameter. Whereas like, you know, when I'm going out, I wear heart monitor, VO2 max is traced every 3 months. Every ride, we have to ride with heart monitors on because if your heart goes to the 100%, you can burn out. You can finish your ride in 1 hour because you overcook. You know, you've got to make sure the pace is nice and steady and your heart is your engine. Simple as that. So you cannot burn this out right away because you only get 3 or 4 chances. It's like they explain it to you like we have matches. We only have 5 or 6 matches in this box, and if we burn them all, our ride is finished. So, and then after our ride, everything's uploaded to our coaches. So they can see, why did I stop for 10 minutes? Why was my heart rate stay slow? Or have I got an infection? Why is my heart rate so high at X amount of watts? So it tells them so many things. And then the next week's program will be to maybe pick the intensity up or lower it if I struggled. You know, basically the coaching team knows my engine inside out by 5 beats a minute, 5 heartbeats. So they will know not to push me over these 5 or make sure I'm not doing it too easy. And my coach, who is a man called Gary Hand, he's got 4 or 5 world record holders in our stable. So, you know, he's a
Wow.
seasoned coach, 5, and the last one we got was a couple of months ago, just a month ago, I think. It's a race across America, East Coast to West Coast. Not only did our two athletes win it, but they broke the world record with
That's awesome.
it.
Got a nice coach.
It's correct. It's tracked. Even when I go to now, everything will be tracked and what I'm doing. You know, everything is watching my heart rate, watching, yeah, everything's on this computer on your bike. Every single parameter I can have that helps me along the way, it is tracked.
Right. Apart from athletes, VO2 max is also important for any human being. So, do you have any recommendations for the average person? How to use VO2 max, how to utilize it for better health?
Do you know what? I think we get tested very intensely for VO2 max. And do you know what? Unless you're not properly intent with the mask on your face, you don't know, you know, you cannot guess what your VO2 max is. You really, there's a specific test for it. And you know, and when we're on the VO2 max test, we are dying, you know, really till we're on our knees. And this tells us how much oxygen our blood can sort of metabolize or use. You know, I think just improving, it's a big parameter for us guys, but for your average guy, it's hard to gauge because, you know, they're not going to go on a treadmill, they're not going to put the max on. I think VO2 max for your average person, you shouldn't even look at it. I wouldn't even look at it because unless you're an athlete, it comes into play because it saves us minutes, seconds, how much blood cells our body, our oxygen blood cells our body is using through intense exercise. But for your average person who's just on the treadmill, walking, running, jogging, I would not even look at it unless you're you know, there's other parameters to lose weight. And you know, I think there's a myth you have to run, jog, everything. You don't have to do all of this. And losing 15 kilo, jogging and running was not even involved in any of this.
Okay.
So, and you know, we learn every day, you know, it was low intense training. You know, you're just walking 10,000 steps every day, fasted preferably. And your average person at 40, 45, 50, you know, it's easy. You can walk, put a podcast on. If they want to watch a movie on YouTube, they can do this. But I think your audience won't be like at my level. So it's something I wouldn't, you know, let them feel like we have to do this. They don't have to do all of this. I think just getting people moving is a big thing nowadays.
it is. Everyone's sedentary,
Yeah.
so even doing the bare minimum really has a big impact.
Oh, unfortunately, I'm overweight right now because I'm racing in New York, as I told you. And my biggest thing to do in the morning is fasted workout at zone 2. So I can talk away for 3 hours without being at a very low intensity zone 2. But you know what? This is where they say you will lose weight. But if I'm doing like today's workout will be like hardcore, there's not much weight loss in this kind of work. The weight loss is mainly at walking pace, jogging pace, so I think sports science has moved along now. Everywhere you look online, 10,000 steps, 15,000 steps a day. It's doable, it's relaxing, and it's enjoyment. It's enjoyment. And I think with older people, especially Indians and the Asians mainly, they don't want to go on a treadmill and get sweaty because they'll only last 2 weeks. But walking, we can get 6 or 7 of us together and just enjoy it. Listen to a podcast, mentally soothing. Your legs are not sore, your body's not sore at the end of it. And you are definitely going to lose weight because, I'm proof that it works. And Dev, as you know, online, every sports trainer, personal trainer, 10,000 steps, 10,000 steps. It works. It worked for me. It works for everyone now. So, I wouldn't look at VO2 max for your average person.
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah, just nice eat. 85% of your weight loss is made in the kitchen, or even 95% is made in the kitchen. The rest is down to you in the gym and walking. So, people think, why have I not got a six pack? It's your kitchen. It's, the two things that we were advised, and the best two things, prepare your food. Another thing is it's from Amazon, it's like £5. Your food scale, weighing your food is the most important thing. Your macronutrients, like your carbohydrates, your fats, and your proteins. These three things are the most important parameters for weight loss for us.
Absolutely.
And you cannot guess, oh, I'm having 200 grams. No, don't guess. Weigh it. The way we tell our team is we don't want people spending money. I mean, $5 on a scale on Amazon, a food scale is nothing. But you can weigh your food, weigh your everything, and then you're not guessing.
Right. So cycling takes a lot of energy. It's like a very calorie intense activity. So what did your diet look like in the initial days of cycling?
Oh, one of my greatest achievements was mastering food, nutrition, because cycling is calorie dense, and there's a term called bonking in cycling, is when you don't eat enough food and your petrol tank is empty. You have to go home. So, food is our best friend, definitely on a ride. So I'll give you an example of on a Sunday mornings, we'll be doing 60 to 80 miles tomorrow morning for talking sake. So I will wake up and I'll have a big bowl of porridge with one banana. And about 20 minutes later, I'll have like 4 eggs with one slice of toast. This is just to start off with. And then, it's very important. You imagine your engine is like a car. You don't put petrol in your car when it's empty, so you have to make sure every hour, it's a rule of thumb, 60 grams of carbohydrates per hour on the bike. So I don't like gels anymore after my operation, all the chemicals in them. I will have like 5 dates. That's like 60 grams of carbs per hour. So every 30 minutes, I'll be in my back pocket, gels, or I'll have 2 bananas. I will carry at least 15 to 1800 calories extra on my pockets. So
Right.
carb drinks in my drink bottle, you will have 60 grams of carbs in each bottle, which is equivalent of 300 calories per bottle. And on top of that, I'll be eating gels, dates. Well, I try to avoid gels, bananas, a carb bar, like a rice bar of carbs, 50 grams of carbs. So I make sure that my body is hydrated with lots of salt. And secondly, the nutrition on the bike is very important. 60 grams of carbs minimum if I'm riding with group 1, with the top guys in my group. I'm riding with a group, it will be like 30 grams of carbs. I don't need as much energy. So I will try to use fat as an energy source rather than, because the pace will be a little bit off. So I don't need I'd rather, eat less food. So breakfast is big. And, on the bike, 60 grams of carbs per hour from dates, bananas, and bars, not gels, and drinks. So these are my four sources of foods on the bike.
So, was it always like this, or maybe when you started your journey, it was different?
Oh, it was different, It was one banana, that's all. Then, come 2 hour mark, my eyes would be wobbly, I'd be dizzy, and it's every guy who started cycling with is probably much the same. I'm going 100 miles, but they have one banana. Huh? But now everyone, we've all been there, and we all have to start somewhere in life. So all we do now is make sure, the nutrition is very high. You're better being full than empty. And I think most of the guys in our team now have mastered the art of nutrition because it's your best friend. It's your best friend.
So, this athletes have this habit of drinking a lot of sports drinks. Is it common on cycling as well?
I'm the biggest guy. I love sports drinks, the sugar, everything else. And since my heart operation, I've cut back on the sugary side, and I'm probably having more drinks with salt, electrolytes. But I'm using my source of sugar is primarily coming from bananas and dates, natural um, sources of sugar which don't spike your insulin. But make no mistake of it, sugary drinks are amazing, especially like Gatorade and things like this. They taste amazing and they are good. But after my situation, I've just thought of how to adapt to other things and using things that do not spike my insulin, like dates and bananas. But I will, after the 30, 40 mile mark, we stop for a coffee and cake. And I sometimes have a Coca-Cola. Oh,
So,
more often than not, I will have a Coca-Cola.
so is there any special food you swear by, like that that gives your performance up?
Do like yesterday, 90 minutes before, pasta, I swear by, it's just a big carb hit. I'll have 200 grams of pasta because it's easy to digest. And people have to remember, your body's like a funnel. It takes time to go down. And people just eat so much, so it's better to eat little, little, little. So there's little in the funnel and it goes down easier. Some people eat so much that the energy cannot get down properly enough. But going back to my favorite food, definitely pasta gives me a lot. I just find I perform better. It's a good source of carbohydrates. As you know, the carbohydrates turn to sugar in your body when it's metabolized. And my personal is pasta. So, lots of guys love porridge. Lots of guys love rice before it. And I spoke to an athlete who's a special athlete, way better than me, online from South Africa. He said he's 200 or 300 grams of protein. He does not eat food on the bike whatsoever. And when I look at his data for 200 or 300 for like 100 miles, he performs 40% higher than me, and he does not eat any carbohydrates. So sports science is getting, it's like doctors. It's new things are coming out all the time. So
Right.
Professor Noakes, the guy is, I think, Kunal, you might have mentioned him before to me. He's on
Yes.
Twitter. So one of his guys is a guy called Sean, something Sean. He's from South Africa. And Sean and I had a long chat, and he's like, I just drink salt and water on the bike, but my breakfast is steak, 6 eggs, more steak, no carbs. And on the bike, I have no food. So it works for him. He performs at a higher level than I do. So, but sports science is it's next year will be a new thing to eat, new thing to do. So, I always have my doubts about sports science. And when
Absolutely.
yeah, because I saw Sean's data, hey, he's performing at a high level, so he's got no reason to lie. And he said, I will never have carbs on a bike. Protein, protein, protein. I couldn't imagine eating a steak and going out on a Sunday ride, but if it works for this gentleman, it clearly works.
Right. Nutrition is like very bio individualistic as well, right? It
Very much so. It's everybody's bodies metabolizes food differently. And I think the amount of carbohydrates we eat on the bike, you've got to sort of train your body to sort of eat like 300 grams of carbs in 3 hours. You kind of just,
mm,
you've got to slowly build this up. And like when Sean spoke to me, he said, you have to have the confidence, because the confidence factor is, I'm thinking, if I don't eat enough, will I finish this race? Will I finish this ride? So he goes, if they do like 2 hours, 3 hours, four, it's in your head. And he's right. But I've still not got around to doing this protein thing on the bike yet. I'm scared in case I suffer. So, but maybe next year I'll experiment a little bit on the protein side, the higher protein side.
absolutely. And do let us know how it works. It'll be
Yeah,
interesting to know.
it'll be interesting, but I have to have the faith, the confidence in myself.
Right.
And when I'm out on a Sunday, I strive to be one of the best riders on my team. And even, you don't want to experiment on a Sunday when you want to be good, or it could be the end of the road, end of the show very quickly. So yeah, when I'm on my own, I'm going to try it one day, definitely.
Right. So we are entering into the other segment of this podcast about your heart health, the blockage in the heart. So can you walk us through how and when you first realized something was wrong? Was it
Yeah. So basically, I had my first ever race last year, and our team, our coach, he invests so much love and time into me. We're not letting this guy down. So he expects all of the riders in our elite stable to finish in the top 10% of every race. That's expected from us. And it was my first race. And, it's like going to a boxing match. You learn so much about your first. I was so naive, but I came in the top 3% out of 2,000 riders.
wow?
I was being so polite to people. Come in front of me. It's okay. Whereas, like, idiot, I was giving one space away every time. But I learned this, and someone says you want to stop for a little gel, and there is stops along the way. I lost 2 minutes by just gabby talking to people. So I came in the top 3% at my age. It was phenomenal. Then just after this, maybe 2 weeks after this race thing, I was having problems breathing. And the British doctors, they're not, you have a virus, everyone has this virus, they're an inhaler for you. And the inhaler never helped. And I could not get a full breath. It was like, there was like a half full breath. And it went on for a week or two, and I said, something is not right. So in my team, there is two doctors, and they are heroes to me, absolute heroes. And I told them, he said, Ifti, come on, let's get your blood checked. And okay, the cholesterol was sky high. And I said to them, Dr. Noshad, I said, and Dr. Kashif, I said, listen, would you advise me to get my heart checked? Because at your age, it's not going to cause you any harm. You're 55. Honestly, he said, people forget they spend £1,000 on alloy wheels or carbon wheels. You should. And I went, and on the other team, the elite guys, the cardiologist was my teammate as well. So he said, if they come down to Liverpool, which is like 3 hour drive from my house, and I will check you out. So I went to the clinic, and they had all the state-of-the-art equipment. I thought I had a virus. I was like untouchable. Finished top 3%. And so John examined me, and the first test was an echograph. And he said, your heart is a bit bigger than most people's, but it's common in athletes, especially elite athletes, because your heart is a muscle. So it's pumping, it's bigger, bigger, but within safety parameters, it's okay. But something I'm seeing, and he wouldn't tell me. And then 30 minutes later, he gave me a angiogram, put me in the big CT scan machine, done everything, put dye in my heart, and within 15 minutes, he called me into the room. I didn't know who was heartbroken more, him or me, because he's telling me the news. you need to remember he's my teammate before he's a doctor. And he was just telling me one blockage was near death, like 90-odd%. Another one was 40%. And the one at 90% was feeding two other arteries. So this is feeding this to the blood. So it's affecting you. And he said, I have to operate on you right away. So when I said right away, within a week, I never told anyone because, I'm the leader of my team. I'm the leader of my company. And the last thing you want is your leader to fall down. So I kept it a secret apart from my business partner and my best friend. I never told my team, never told anyone. I went back down to Liverpool and I was operated on November the 24th. And then I came home. And sorry, I'll reverse it a little bit. Dev knows this story. So in the first week of November, my beautiful little sister was diagnosed with cancer. So within the space of 20 days, both, me and my sister are so healthy. We had someone with kidney cancer who's since had a kidney removed, and you had me. It was just a bad time. And I think I'm lucky this happened to my sister because I still never reflect what's happened to me yet. I've never sat down and think, wow, you're lucky. I just think about my sister every day. And even this morning, I was thinking about my sister first. So, I was operated on, they put one stent in and they opened up one artery with a balloon or something like this. I was sent home the same day. So my friends drove me back to Scotland, which was a 3-hour drive from Liverpool. And basically, I could not do anything strenuous for the first 10 days. After this, they made me walk slowly for like 2 months. Then from January onwards, they made me like go on the bike like a baby again. So if you look at my graphs of fitness, it's like a stock market crash. I'm up there, just way down there, and then up to April, they basically started building me up from like my rides were capped at 100 BPM. I could not take my hair over 100. Then after 3 weeks, it'd be 110, 40 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour 30 max. Then after 3 weeks again, it'd be like 130. And that's what happened. Then on December of last year, the week after my operation, I told my teammates. And I don't even think it sunk into them because they're like, on the Monday, tell me what happened again. I'm like, I just told you yesterday. Not you, not you're like you know, the pinnacle of being fit. Tell me again, tell me again. And I said, guys, this is what happened, but it's done. My operation is done. I'm coming back. Don't worry. So this is how it happened, shortness of breath. And when I was cycling, I had to stop my bike ride 3-4 times because I'm like, guys, let me take my inhaler. And I was actually having angina attacks. I didn't even know this. So the 3 times I stopped on that ride post-diagnosis, no, pre-diagnosis, sorry, I was having angina attacks, not even knowing I was pushing up some of the riders on the mountain because what we do is if the rider is overweight and everything else, that he's not as fit as us, we make sure he feels good. We push him up, make sure he's with us, and we make sure he doesn't feel left out. So I'm pushing other guys, not knowing I'm having angina attacks, not knowing what's going on in my body.
Yeah.
And when I was diagnosed, the cardiologist said to me, "Ifti, what do I say to you? You're 72 kilo, you're not overweight." Normally we say to people, okay, stop eating this, stop doing this, stop doing this. And I think right away, my diet was bad. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, my diet was the best. I'm an athlete. My diet was shocking. Here is someone who's invincible, who can eat rice, biryani, food every day with 3 cans of Coca-Cola every day, all of his life, because I burned it all off. And, my diet was very, very bad. Very bad.
I
So,
mean, our topic, Dave, beyond calories, I think
Mhm.
Iftikhar just summed it up, right? It's not about calories, it's about quality.
Yeah,
um,
you can burn off calories, but you cannot burn off the effects which produces on the body.
Yeah. And I think moving along after the diagnosis, Dev and I met on Twitter. I must say, Dev has been a hero to me and his wife now. And modern medicine still, again, like sports science, modern medicine is still flawed, in my opinion. You know, I left hospital with a bag of medicine. Take all of this. I'm like, are you crazy? I'm like thinking, and Gunnar, I'll just go back a little bit of why I was thinking this way before I tell you how I met Dev. So my father was blind through diabetes damage, retinal damage for about 17 years of his life. And being the only son, I took my dad to hospital, doctors, everywhere. And my question in my head was, why are you not fixing my dad? But big pharma, one medicine makes another disease, the next medicine makes the other disease, and my father is eating medicine like M&Ms. But my father was never cured. They went from blindness to blood pressure to angina to you name it. My father was eating medicine like it was like M&Ms. And from a young age, I always wanted my dad fixed, and my dad never got fixed. And looking back at everyone who is on medicine for diabetes, they're not cured. They're just like, okay, they alleviate the symptoms of diabetes or angina. They are not cured. I think you would agree with me that everyone takes medicine. There's great things of medicine that can fix your life. I agree with this. But the majority of these Asian respiratory diseases and lung diseases and everything else, they are never cured. And I wanted to look at other things, other ideas. And this is where I met Dev. And right off our first conversation, Dev and I were on the same page pretty much. I think Dev didn't have to convince me of much of not taking statins. Right away, Dave, if you remember correctly, the doctor gave me 80 milligrams, the strongest dose you can get.
Mhm.
Luckily for me, it destroyed me within a week. And Dave, I was telling you, I was getting cramps like I'd run 500 miles. I'm sitting in office meetings getting cramp in my legs. My muscles were sore all night. In the first week, I came off them. And, I can talk about Dev now. I think it's fair. Dev played a big part in my rehabilitation. And this is where my diet of eating rice, fried food, fries, Coca-Cola had to change overnight. Because I remember one of Dev's first words, I bet you're insulin resistance. Do you remember this, Dev? I think you're right. You wrote it on Twitter.
Right, right.
And our doctors do not test us for this. Everything, just take the medicine, shut up. You're not a doctor, I am. And this is the attitude I could not live with from anyone for that matter, So I hope my doctors never listen to this podcast. I still don't take statins. So when I met Dev, I got my bloods. They were pretty much all over the place. So Dev and Arpita, they both decided to make my diet high in meats and fats and go low carbs. And when I got to this rabbit hole, we are all Asians. Dave, was it 100 grams of rice or 150 grams of rice converts into 10
Yes,
t? What is it, 150, 100? What?
100.
Yeah, so you imagine someone like me who eats rice every day. I'm a rice lover. You and I are not eating 100 grams in a million years. We're having 400 grams minimum on a plate. It's piled up to here. And I'm the type of guy that has the leftovers the next day, and I'll want fresh rice again the following day. So you imagine at any one sitting, I'm having something like 40 spoons of sugar just with the rice, the conversion of rice. Then you're going to have something sweet. Then we're going to have Coca-Cola, it's more sweet. In any one sitting, any one day, I'm eating 100 spoons of sugar. And then the seeded oil, Dev, fried, I love fries. I always have. The seeded oils, the damage they cause to someone's body. And reading the stories about the damage seeded oils caused, this was a discussion Dave and I had, and I had to change this all overnight. And I did. I stopped eating rice. The love affair with rice ended that day. And but being Asian, we can have chapati, we can have curry, but eat more meat. Put away the vegetable oil, cook with ghee, butter, animal fat. And you know, my diet became more enjoyable. You know, all of a sudden, brain fog left me. All of these things when I was insulin resistant, you know, I would need to sleep after my lunch. When I say sleep, like 20 minutes on my desk, because my body could not break down all of this high carb breakfasts, dinners. You know, something like Dave has suggested me intermittent fasting. I do it every day now. You know, 16, 18 hours is nothing for me because my body it doesn't need the food. You know, my first meal will be, well, I've just had it prior to my cycling. So when I met Dev, and I think it was lucky for Dev and me that we were on the same page. Dev, I don't think I needed much convincing. I'd read enough to say, like, I will do this. It was not like, because people believe in their doctors, people think they're God. Oh, I cannot touch his medicine. I can't. And, you know, my mother and father, exact same. My sister is exact same with her cancer treatments. You know, the side effects are shocking, but, you know, trying to convince someone not to do this, it's easier said than done. You know, it's all right for me to say I did this, but when someone's in medicine, you know, it's a mindset that it takes a lot of changing from coming off statins. But the diet was the easy part for me because I ended up eating more food that I enjoyed and cooked in a way that I enjoyed. So carbs, virtually, I'm down under 100 grams a day. You know, when I say like one piece of toast, which is like 30 grams, eggs, I will have like Indian food once a day minimum, like 250 grams of lamb or chicken cooked in butter, not no oils involved in my life. And I'll have the same again for dinner. I'll, you know, have beef, lamb, chicken. No, I don't eat beef, lamb or chicken for dinner at night. So my diet's become enjoyable, very enjoyable. And yes, I will have the can of Coke when I want it on a bike ride. I will have a cake on my bike ride days. And I will have a pizza when I take my grandchildren out. So, you know, but it's not the same as it used to be. And but I'm on aspirin and I'm only on two medications. And aspirin is one of them, and clopidogrel is the other one. That's all I touch.
So, what after this whole incident, what impact did it have on your teammates? Like, did they get their parameters checked and all that?
Oh, this is a tough one. My best friends did. And, you know, my best friends, I have five friends, and we walked together for 50 years each from school, and we've kept in touch. And I'm like the poster boy with these guys. I'm like the fit guy. And they're like, if it can happen to you, we're messed up. And all I said was, you guys go and just get you, you're going to be okay. Listen, just for us. Because I always said this philosophy. If I had four friends, I could not cope with one of these guys. That's how much I love them. And guess what happened? Every one of them bloody got a Zempic. Because every one of them are at least 15 to 20 kilo overweight. Every one of their boys. And, you know, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a preacher. You know, in a way, I wasn't happy that they could have done this naturally. They all lost weight. They all gained weight again now, coming off a Zempic. You know, it's great when it comes off, but when you have to come off the medication, every one of them put on the same weight again. So I was disappointed that they went down the road of taking a Zempic. And like I said, I'm not medically qualified to give people advice. I said, don't do this. Don't. I said, okay, then doing it in the right direction. But if you looked at them, I met them all Monday. They all have the weight back on plus more. So, but on LinkedIn, when I documented my story, just so your listeners know, I'm one of the most followed people in the UK in LinkedIn, the top 5%. So we documented our story about what happened to me. And this is when a lot of CEOs out of the blue that they didn't even know me messaged me privately. Tell me what happened. And the thing I said to everyone, we all overthink. You're okay. Don't worry. Even if you're heavy, you're probably okay. So I just gave them the number of the doctors where I got my bloods done from, where I got my cardiologist test done from. You know, and these men were genuinely, at least 10 to 12 people reached out to me from every corner of the earth, being the most followed person on LinkedIn, one of the most. So my friends, they went down the Ozempic route. My teammates, I think again, the top guys in the group, we're all fit enough. Like I said, I'm the oldest guy in my team, in my group by a long mile. So, I do push my friends at my age to get checked, stay checked, because Asians have a thing of, we'll spend £2,000 on a holiday, £3,000, but they cannot spend £1,000 to check their heart out. And, I tell them, just get it checked out, for me, because, I cannot live without you guys. So I said, just do it for me. And I bet you there's nothing wrong with you guys, but every 2 years, it's a must when you hit 40. I think it's a must. So my friends went down the Ozempic road. My cycling mates have not been properly checked, I don't think. But the people who follow me on LinkedIn, some of them reached out. And I'm not in a position to follow up to people. I just gave them the number of the clinic, my doctor, and I didn't ask them after this.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And again, yeah.
what about your family members? Like, obviously, they were shocked by this.
Do you know, I try not to talk about it, and because my mother still doesn't know, and mainly my sister. She found out through my friend's wife, and she's calling me, she's crying and crying, and why did you not tell me? I'm like, I'm trying to protect you. And so I don't speak about it to my family members. A lot of them do not know, and I want to keep it that way because I do not like sympathy. I don't like, oh, look at you. No, I'm a leader in the field. You should look up to me, and this is my biggest goal was to get back to the same fitness levels as I was last year. And I'm just like weeks away from this now, weeks away now. And that was my goals to get back to that level. It took time. I have to trust the process, trust my coaches, trust my teammates. And there's not been a day that I do think about telling some of my family, but I said, do you know what? It's done. It's happened. Why should I stress my sisters all out for? Why should I make them cry? Because I'm the only brother, yeah, and in an Indian family, the only son, I'm their leader. I'm their brother, father, everything. I'm my sister's everything. So I will never tell them much about me. And
Right.
I think I try not to, I never think about me because, like I said, my sister's my priority. Her cancer will come back, she might leave us. I'll be okay. I'm in God's hands. I'll be fine. So it's something I never talk about. Even like when I'm struggling in cycling, I don't use this as an excuse. I don't even talk about it. Some people have almost said, I've had this problem, I've had this, and they've never stopped talking about it. I'm only talking about it to you guys for awareness. And if I can help one person's life or save one person, it's been a big success talking about it then. That's the only reason I'm talking to you guys. The only reason I write about it on LinkedIn is to just make sure we're aware of someone like me who's super fit. Happen to me can happen to anyone.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, but going back to Dev, I think Dev and his wife, both of them are very helpful speaking to me and changing the diet. I do cheat 100%. I'm not going to tell you I'm an angel, but from this Iftikhar, I did rice and Coca-Cola and cakes and ice cream and he wanted. My love affair with rice has ended all of a sudden. For 50 years as a child loving rice, I don't touch it anymore. Eating breads, I don't eat them anymore, and I tend to cook most of the food at home. So eating out once a week is a treat for me, like pizza. I do it, but now it's I don't want bread with that stays fresh for 1 week. I tend to may have sourdough things, much more meat. I eat a lot more meat now, and Coca-Cola once a week. But in general, I'm drinking more water, electrolytes. Definitely, I'm not totally ketogenic or carnivore, but I'm like low carb um, and high fat. When I say fat, I mean meat as well. So I'm definitely an advocate of this because it's changed how I don't fall asleep. I've got no brain fog. I've got nothing that now disturbs me anymore.
Has this impacted your training in any way? the whole diet change?
No, like I said, before I do my training now, when I leave this podcast, yes, before I have pastas and I'll have a can of Coca-Cola going to my destination because sugar, I will now probably have on a shorter ride. This is a very intense ride. I will just have dates instead of sugary gels. You know, these gels are full of maltodextrin, which is quite high. It's just like a higher form of sugar, as you know, maltodextrin. So I won't be having gels anymore. I will rely on natural fruit sugars, dates, bananas. And I try to stay off all these high carb drinks as much as I can. So on the bike, I have changed a lot, but it did impact me initially because I almost thought I had a superfood of pasta, gels of a superfood. But my body's adapting. I'm not suffering anymore. Like I said, I'm back to my fitness levels from last year. And again, tomorrow morning's breakfast, which I told you about, is going to be like 4 eggs toast, big bowl of porridge, one banana, and then on the bike, I will not touch gels. I'll have one in case of an emergency in my pocket, but I'll try to consume the bananas and dates first. And only if I'm really think I'm depleted of energy, if I think I'll break the glass for emergency and have the gel. So it has an impact on my nutrition.
Absolutely. So, has this whole incident, how has it impacted your business? Like, in the sense, has it changed your outlook on things, on life?
No, but what I have started doing is taking more breaks, like holidays and cycling trips. And because you know what, round about me, I'm seeing so many younger people just being ill, sick. You know, last when I spoke to you last week, Italian friend of mine, is 54, 1 year younger than me. Lots of business passed away with a heart attack. And I tell this to my friends, you know, we're not coming back here again. Once we go, we go. So, you know, we're all working, we're all running after money, we're all running after money. I've now just cut my hours back at office, spend more time and happiness with my bike. You know, I'm thinking about going away to Greece in the next 10 days, and then I'm in New York. I'm just now thinking to my friends, why are we working so much for? You know, we have to work, of course we do, but we have to manage our health. Without our health, we're nothing. And I think most for me, my biggest mindset is taking more time off work. But with my friends, a lot of people just think everything will be fixed by a doctor. And I know like the only muscle in your body that cannot be repaired is your heart. It cannot be repaired. Once it's damaged, it's damaged. So, and I tell my friends this, you know, guys, you know, you have to just slow down a little bit because you're not coming back. And, you know, with damage to your anything in your body, something, the quality of your life goes down a little bit. You know, and just before my operation, my old boss, when I was a young boy, he was 55, diabetes has chopped his leg off. This guy's a multi-millionaire. Can he walk up a mountain like I could? No, he cannot. You know, will he have a walking stick all of his life? Yes, he will. You know, the way I look at it, what kind of quality of life is this? I want to push my grandchildren in prams and run after them. And what I will say to you, just keep on getting checked up. You're definitely going to be okay. Don't overthink. And I think my mindset's quite unique. I'm very cold. I think about other people before I think about myself. So, you know, all I do is like, don't worry about business. It'll take care of itself. And but give myself more time. Give myself more time. That's more important to me. Because everything I've not done, the bucket list things of cycling in all these countries like America and I just want to do all of these things. I want to complete all of these adventures that at least I said I've done it all. You know, cycled in Dubai, in Portugal, and Italy, Spain, everywhere. And I'm doing it all. And like I said, we're not coming back. And after 60 years of age, which is 5 years away, I'm in God's hands. You know, whatever God's plan for me then, illnesses or whatever, I know I won't be that elite guy. every day will be a bonus day for me after 60 years of age, and I intend to fulfill all of my bucket list things now. So if I
Right.
think about it, it will probably destroy me. So I never think about what's happened to me. And like I said, I'm very cold that way. What's the point of crying? I don't see it's done. Address it, move on. And I don't ever sit at a party with people, oh, this happened to me. Come on. I don't want sympathy. It's not me. It's not in my DNA. And if my cycling teammates will tell you, I've never sat down and said, I'm so lucky to get away with this, and then I'm back. No, let's not talk about it. Let's encourage people to do better in life and encourage them to get themselves checked up. You know, that's all I can do in life to them. But it's not about me. It's not about me. I've never thought that. So, but life is too short. If my father passed away at 77, I've got another 22 years left on this planet. If I look at the average age expectancy, and I aim to be the best 22 years of my life.
Anyway, you are doing a fabulous job educating the masses through LinkedIn and all the social media. You're doing a fantastic job letting people know by uh, by sharing your journey that take care of your health. Health is the most important thing. You're leaving a fantastic message for all the folks.
And like I said, that's my biggest achievement. If I can get two people to go to a doctor or speak to you, Dev, that's a massive achievement to me. That makes me smile. Like he went to get himself checked out. And like I said, 99.9% sure there's nothing wrong with these people. People overthink. Overthink is the biggest killer. So when people say, "Oh, I'll speak to this guy," and yesterday I got an email. The clinic want to make a video of me, and they said how you've documented your return on your health on your LinkedIn. We want to do a promotional video about this hospital because in the UK our treatment is free, but I had to go privately pay for mine because it was like I trusted the guys. I could not wait 1 year for this treatment. So yesterday I got an email from this clinic saying, "Can we do a little video about you, about your experience and what happened?" Because we find that on LinkedIn, etc., you talk very well about yourself. And it's this was yesterday, so it's another video I have to do, or another podcast, something like this. I don't know yet.
Right. So speaking of UK, we have Dr. Sumit Sharma in the audience. He was a guest few days back. Few weeks back. Doctor, you wanna come in?
Can you hear me, Dave?
We can hear you.
Yep, here you
Can
are.
hear you.
I'm so sorry. I was actually driving and I'm also there, but we can have a chat. So certainly, what a remarkable journey. First of all, we haven't met before, but I think now we are connecting through Dave and Kunal. They have been actually doing this podcast. They started recently. Wonderful job. I was actually there a few weeks ago. But certainly, listening to what you're saying, that's everyday story. I do see and hear in the clinic. Of course, I don't know where you are based. I'm based in London, and actually,
I work in London during the week, but I'm Scottish.
okay,
So
I could
I'm
tell
in,
you from the accent.
I'm in Scotland right now. So yeah, I'm based in London, Marble Arch, and it's during Monday to Thursday, and then I tend to go home to enjoy my cycling and enjoy other things. And Scotland's always home.
Yeah, like I think, of course, yeah, I'd love to meet you sometime when you're dropping London. Actually, you can connect here through here. I'm sure we can actually, Kunal can share some of my details, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. We can connect and then we connect eventually
Sure.
face to.
For
But
sure.
look, I just won't say much. You have shared a lot of golden nuggets on this podcast, but certainly I would just like to echo what you're saying. I think you can earn a lot of money if it is lost, but once you have done irreparable damage to your health, it is absolutely impossible to get it back. You were telling about the story about somebody with a walking stick. I think
Yeah.
once this in your hand, the thing is gone. Like you have already lost it. So it is very difficult to get back to where you were. So remarkable job. Keep building the muscle, and they really keep working on the diet. And I'm sure this will
UK
inspire many other people.
UK needs more doctors like you.
I'm sure UK needs a lot more people who can work on their mentality and actually work on their metabolic health more rather than doctors. I think in the doctor's training, they will always actually tell you how to diagnose, how to prescribe. So medicine is the big part of being a doctor's training. I think the training should change right from the ground up, teaching people the nutrition, exercise, and actually what are the mechanics of a good metabolic health looks like, and how can people keep on working so that they don't end up being ill and they don't need medication.
Yeah, I think people rely on medication too much. That's like, if I'm ill, I'll get medication. But they don't realize the long term, especially at my father, there's like endless medication. And a lot of people do in the UK. It's free, as you know, Dr. Smith, the medicine's all free in the UK. And, they don't realize the side effects, that it's just a knock on to the next medicine. Something else breaks down to the next medicine. We're not going to live forever, but the quality of life should be good. That's what I always think of, my quality of life. I cannot affect that because it'll affect me full stop. So again, the metabolic health, especially in the UK, doctor can vouch for me here. Every Indian Pakistani is cooking with oil. Oil is healthy. And well, vegetable oil, you know the story with vegetable oils now. And their diets are very high in carbs. You know, they're not walking. I don't know, even like 30 minutes of a walk. They just don't do it. And the diets are very, especially the children now, there's nothing made in the house anymore. They're eating fries and burgers every day. Everything's on an app now. So I think the next generation is going to be in trouble if they don't fix their diet right now.
And I think this is something one needs to people actually from Asian heritage tend to live very unhealthily in UK. If you compare this to actually the people from Dutch to healthcare and very much into healthy living, and they don't actually they tend to are very conscious and avoid things like seed oils, avoid sugar, a lot of carbs. But certainly our community tend to heavily rely on like carb-based diet, like a lot of seed oils, as you have actually mentioned, cooking with vegetable oil, and their mindset should change right from the outset. And I think the subcontinent community, once they are actually more aware of it, things will definitely change from ground up.
Yeah, I agree with this, but I think, Sumit, as you said, the doctors have got to get retrained first. The doctor saying take statins and take all of this and eat what you're doing. It's got to be from the top down. From the doctors all the way to us people. And luckily, I met Deb, and I said, luckily, my mindset was made up. I was quite an easy guy to convince. But when you get my 5 or 6 other friends with the Zempic, and they just believe the Zempic will save their life. And I hope my friends have a long life. If they're going to listen to this as well, I hope they live forever. But sometimes, modern men, you can fix it all in the kitchen. This is my opinion. I fixed most of myself in the kitchen by just changing things in what I eat. And I'm still eating things that I enjoy in life, like lamb curry and okay, there'll be one chapati, chicken. I can have anything I want now.
Kunal?
Yeah, Dr. Sumit, you're on mute if you want to say something. You're still on mute. Okay, fine. So thank you, Dr. Sumit, for tuning in. And we'll just a couple of more questions for Iftikhar here. So I've been reading your LinkedIn posts, and it's all about leadership, about health. They're so interesting, and it's all personalized. These are insights from your life. They're very, very inspiring, and as Dave mentioned, you've been sending out such a positive message for people for their professional lives, for their health, for mindset, everything. So it's amazing.
No,
And
thank
on,
you very
on
much.
and on top of that, you are handling such a high pressure business and you're doing such a high demanding endurance sport like cycling. So how do you make time for work and sport? Is there any secret there?
Oh, for sport, my teammates invest in me, and I'm never letting these guys down. My coach cares for me, invests in me, and I've got a thing. I'm never going to let you down. It's just my mindset. You know, like why would I ruin his reputation because I cannot be bothered doing a cycling workout? Like I said, if I fly in at Scotland, it's 11 p.m. at night, I'll be on my training bike doing this workout because these guys care for me and they invest a lot of effort into me. So my mindset out, I'm not going to let his reputation down because he runs a successful stable of athletes, and just because I could not be bothered. So when I don't have time, I will make time. It was 11 o'clock at night, 1 in the morning, and I've just flew in from the airport. I will get on this bike and do this workout. So I make for my cycling, I make time. I don't care. I make time. And with business, again, I've got a great team around about me. And yes, a job is stressful, but it's how you manage it. You know, if I lost a deal yesterday, would I cry over it? No, there'll be another 10 coming tomorrow. We don't care. We make sure that we look forward in life. We never look back. What's happened has happened. And with time management, I'm very good at it. I always wish God made 28 hours for a day instead of 24. I could do with 4 extra hours. But I think the most important thing is I get my 8 hours sleep. I need my 8 hours sleep, and that's for sure. I'm a different person if I have 5, 6 hours sleep. I'm just a different guy in a bad way. But I tend to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night. My body now I'm done. I've just finished all my energy. So 8 hours, I think sleep and recovery go hand in hand. And I told Dev this before, and sometimes when on intense cycling days, I go to a cryo chamber. I stand with my shorts on at minus 120 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes to reduce the inflammation of my workouts. So part of nutrition and recovery is sleeping and getting cold therapies. So,
Yeah,
time looks after itself. Just put your phone down. People spend, I bet anybody who's got an iPhone, they'll on Monday morning, you spend 4 hours, 6 hours on the phone a day. You see it in your notification every Monday morning. So, instead of doing all this, just walk and look at your phone. I think the phone is the biggest culprit now. People just, once they sit on this phone, they don't come off it.
yeah,
So I tend to maybe use my phone as I'm driving or look at things as I'm walking. So I've basically done two things at one time.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I manage my time very well, but nothing can come in the way of my cycling. Nothing. It comes first, then the business.
That's very passionate.
Yeah. And like I said, right after this podcast, if you cannot see my body down here, I've got my cycling kit on. I've got the cycling kit on underneath this, and then off I go.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So, so I think just like, do you think good health translates into good work, professional life, good mindset? Do you think there's a strong connection there?
There's a massive connection. With bad health, you get stress. It impacts every aspect of your life, be it family life, be it work life.
Right.
Even changing my diet this afternoon, sluggishness is away. It's like, my mind is almost awake. And for 10, 15 years, 2 o'clock slump, it almost happened to me. The lunchtime slump, I felt horrible. So, a healthy mind, I just think, and, good recovery of sleep and everything else, it's all hand in hand. I do tend to switch off at night. I don't, my phone never goes to bed with me. I've got strict how I sleep. So I think a healthy mind, definitely, and without your health, if you've got bad health, you're going to worry about it all day and all night. And then the people around about you are going to worry about you all day and night. So, and it has a knock-on effect in your office, your cycling team, your children. So you've got to make sure you're like a healthy mind, be healthy in life.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
what's next on the horizon?
Well, I've been invited to race in New York by my coach, so I must be doing something right that I'm invited. He thinks, he would not put me under something I cannot do in life. If he thought I was going to suffer, because I hate losing at anything, I hate the fear of losing it. It's a fear I have in my life, all my life. Even when I lost a game of football, I was like scared, like I'm angry all day. So New York is the first time I took my bike to America, and on the 3rd of October. That's on the list, and we'll be racing as a team. So it'll be like, peloton, me at the front for 20 minutes, my mates, it'll be all very tactical. And like I said, I'm a little overweight right now. They need 4 kilo off me for New York. And that's my next goal. That's my goal right now. And come our cycling season finishes in 3 weeks' time. So it's when it starts raining in Scotland, the UK, the weather gets cold. So this will be off-season work. So basically from after my race, normally it's the 1st of October, the 10th of October, we start preparing for next year. So our next year goals start from mid-October for me to maybe mid-February. So my goals definitely are New York, racing New York. And sorry, I forgot to tell you on Sunday, we committed ourselves to a charity event. So 14, 15 of my team's riders, we cycled 200 miles over 2 days. And as we speak right now, we've got £46,000 for
Wow.
children's charity. So a little club in Scotland, 3-year-old club, 4-year-old club, with riders that don't even have the ability to do 200 miles. And I mean this, they do not have the ability. They were all heroes this weekend. They were, in my opinion, absolute heroes by doing this, going through the pain barrier, the comfort levels. So, and £46,000, Jesus, is going to feed a lot of kids for a long time in some poor countries. So this was what we did this Saturday there. And the goal moving forward is just to be a better person than yesterday. That's my goal. I want to be a better person than I was yesterday. And it's not all about money and closing deals. It's how you speak to people in life, how people look at you in life. All of this money comes, but for me, it's almost been like this, just to be a better person than I was yesterday.
Thank you, Iftikhar. It's full of positivity, all the messages. So delightful to have
Yeah,
this conversation. I'm sure they will agree. And Arpita,
Yeah.
if you want to come on, please unmute and get your camera on, and we'll have a chat.
Hi.
Hi, Peter. There she
Hi.
is. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks.
Yeah, like I was hearing all the podcasts. So, like, you are anyway, you are an inspiration. You inspire us to, believe in some cause and passion and live the life. Like it, not always thinking about negative things and like all the things. Just living life as you want to live, and it's very inspiring. It's very inspiring. Your journey is really, really inspiring. It inspires me a lot.
No, and I appreciate this, and if I can help one person along the way, it's the biggest achievement in my life. One person only. So, like I said, when I talk about the journey with Dave and yourself, you guys, picked me up the ground. I didn't have time to start crying. So, it's a lot of great people along the way, Kunal. It's, from my cycling teammates to the cardiologist cyclist to Dev and Arpita. The journey has been amazing. And we won't touch upon one person, Marion. She's been amazing as well. But we'll talk about her another day. So,
Now we are in touch. Now we are in touch with Kunal, Now you met Dr. Sumit as well. So we're all in this.
Yeah, and what you guys are doing on Twitter, with your metabolic health conferences, you are doing a fantastic job. Unfortunately, you just have to fix about 1 billion people. It's a long haul, and if, like I said, if I can refer one guy to you or refer one guy to a cardiologist, it's a win-win for me. It's like winning a medal for me. And that's my aim. But like I said, people don't listen very easily, do they? You
No.
know, they probably think we are the ones that are wrong and they're right. And this is why I had a metabolic guy talking about all of this, and he said, "Can I advertise, talk about you and me on your LinkedIn?" I said, "No, because people think I'm stupid. Because I believe in you. You're the 1%, and I think Kunal, Dev, Arbita, you are the 1% in my opinion. Medically, the 1% who believe in your field." And I said, "No, people think I'm crazy if I put you on my LinkedIn." And I said, "I hope you understand. I believe in you 100%, my friend, but I cannot push this because people start writing, 'Oh, you a doctor now?' It's going to cause a controversy if I started talking about be like Marion, you know, and you know what she's like." So I said, let's keep it very neutral on LinkedIn and just help people in a nice way and let the doctors be the doctors and us be the businessmen. So, you guys are doing an amazing job, and this metabolic thing that you've got going on in India, it's phenomenal because when I do look at Indian men my age and Indian young people as well, they have this skinny fat going on, and it's only in the Asian community I see this. And it's probably down to our diets, me included, my son included. It's down to just a, a bad diet, and we've been brainwashed into vegetable oils are healthy with the love heart sign of all of this. So, I think, Dave, you and I will have this conversation till you probably live longer than me, but we'll be having this conversation every 4 or 5 years. How are we getting on? How many people have been convinced of this? But it's going to be a long journey for you guys, a hard journey at this, because mindsets are, especially with, it's your doctor or Dev. You pick one and think people almost pick their doctor, not realizing that big pharma dictates everything to them. So, we're in it, all of us guys are in this journey for the long haul, but I'm just a small, small part of this. You guys are the biggest part in this. So, again, I cannot thank Arpita and Dev enough, and to the people who are listening, they've been absolute phenomenal. Checking my bloods, Dev, and again, Gunnar, just to tell you something else, when my second or third bloods came, the doctor gave me more statins. And Dev, if you remember my ratio of LDL to
HDL to
triglycerides,
triglyceride to HDL. Yeah.
it was like now phenomenal. It was like 0.5. Am I right in saying this? And
Right.
they said, take more statins. And again, they went in the bin. I threw them away. And, this is like, the education of doctors and medical science. There's lots of great guys on Twitter who think like us, but the majority, unfortunately, it's just the way the world is. So you
Right.
guys, you've got a bigger job than me in your hands.
Absolutely.
So, Canala, is there anything else you want to touch
I
upon?
think we covered it all.
Yeah.
And then if they've no other questions, we can close this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dev, before I go, how did you do a 200-kilometer ride? What was going through your mind? In India, the roads are bad, traffic's bad. 200 kilometers?
Yeah, I love it. I love cycling. It's terrible. It's terrible doing it out here, but back in my home, back in Kerala, I don't know if you know about my place. It's Kerala. It,
Yeah. That's
it's
big,
much
big
more
numbers.
greener.
Massive
It's got
numbers.
it's got compared to other bigger Indian cities, it is much better. So
Okay.
there's got some cycling right.
That's big numbers. When I saw it, I'm like, Jesus, was he fighting with his wife this day? 10 hours on the bike? How was it? 10 hours? 11 hours? What was your
Yeah.
ride? Something insane.
Yeah, so I had all, I was all, it was all, there was rain, I was all muddy, the cycle was muddy. I have the pics, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, fantastic. That was phenomenal. And I think with Kunal's friend from Ireland as well, doing big rides as well. I remember you riding in the group, your friend from Ireland.
Right.
So
He also started during COVID, so I think it's great in Ireland, Scotland. Riding is good, but in India, like,
yeah,
like
and I get it. I do get it. And I remember a few guys in our team went to ride in Kashmir in the mountains, and they had to get a support vehicle behind them because people are not coming in and out. So, no, phenomenal, Dave. Keep it up. And Kunal, listen, guys, thank you very much for having me.
uh, absolutely, it's our honor and pleasure to have you. So thank you, Iftikhar, for sharing valuable insights on today's episode of Healthy X Sundays. For more from Iftikhar, follow him on LinkedIn. And thank you all for tuning in. Don't miss next week's episode where we'll have another special guest with us. Until then, stay healthy, stay happy, and take care.
Okay, guys, listen, thank you very much. Take care.
Bye bye.